Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Has anyone here been abducted or suspect they may have been? Have you ever spotted a UFO? Have you telepathically communicated with an off-world species? Share your stories, proof, or arguments here. A couple nights ago, I had a very long, vivid, and lucid dream where I was a survivor of an alien invasion. It was realistic and extremely detailed, even to go as far as get personal details right, like what car I drive, where I live, what I would do, etc. I woke up 3 times during this dream, and each time I fell back asleep, I continued exactly where I left off. It was insane, and I have never experienced a lucid dream to this extent. When I woke up, I told my friend who played a role in my dream as a fellow survivor. When I told him the dream, he told me he could recall the events and that he shared the same dream as me simultaneously, even describing the aliens accurately in detail. I have been going crazy over this. Thoughts?
During the winter months of 2007, my family was living in Doha, Qatar. My father was working in the gas field while I was attending high school at the private American school. My dad and I would always head out into the sand dunes on the weekend to go ripping around on our quad bikes. A chemical processing plant was built right next to these sand dunes and could very clearly be seen no matter where you were out in that area. It was about 8 p.m. Saturday night, and my dad and I were about to call it a day and load the quads back onto the truck and head home for the evening when we stopped on top of the sand dune to have a look at the stars. And that's when we saw it. A very, very bright, pure white light had appeared out of nowhere directly above us. We assumed it had something to do with the military because Qatar houses one of the largest U.S. military bases in the region. Then it started moving very slowly towards the chemical plant, overshooting it and stopping just on the ocean side of the plant. It stood still for a few moments, just kind of hovering there silently. Then it began to head back over the plant towards where it had originally appeared, but now it was following an oval path in the sky. By the time it had completed its oval back over to the chemical plant, it had dropped from what we figured was about 10,000 feet to about 5,000 feet. We could now look at the sides of it as it moved, but all we could see was bright white light. Then came a rumble. A very distant rumble. We turned and looked inland, towards the middle of the desert, and in the sky came 2 American F-16s. I'm assuming that's what the Americans are using in the Middle East. I'm not K, so I don't know. Afterburning, roaring across the dark desert sky towards this bright white light, hovering over the chemical plant. The F-16s did 2 loops around this flying object. Then as quickly as they appeared, they left, heading back towards the center of Qatar towards the military base. On the other side of the sand dune we were sitting on top of while we watched this object, the local construction companies were mining out the sand to use as base filler for construction. The area that remained was a giant mud flat, about 1 mile across and 5 miles long. This bright white light had followed its semi-oval path and was sitting above us now. Then it began to descend. As it got closer and closer to the ground, the light changed color from pure white to a green. As the object passed right in front of us, we got a clear look at it. The object we were looking at was a tubular steel container, just long and large enough to fit a person inside, but no bigger than that. And attached to it was a giant white parachute. There were green lights that were shining directly into the parachute and towards the ground. The object landed flat in the mud flat about 300 meters away from us. The parachute covered the capsule, and the lights went out. During this whole event, not a sound was made. No buzzing, no bang when it hit the ground, nothing. My dad and I decided that before we went to take a look, we were going to go back to the truck, get our cameras and phone, and then call the police once we figured out what the object was. This took about 3 minutes to do, and then we were back on top of the sand dune about to head into the mud flat when we stopped. 2 plain white Toyota Land Cruisers were ripping out of the mud flat towards the highway. We didn't see them show up. We didn't see them sitting there. They must have been sitting in the mud flats with their lights off waiting. After they were out of sight, we descended into the mud flat to have a look at the crash site. There was nothing there, only tire tracks. There was no disturbance on the ground, no crater, no drag marks, nothing. Whatever it was had hit the ground soft enough to leave no trace. After that, we packed up the quads and went back to town. And that's my close-up and personal story of seeing an unidentified flying object in the middle of the Arabian desert.
I love sharing this story with /X/ because you are the only people I can tell that will believe me. My friends think I'm a fucking nut. I'm just glad they haven't had me institutionalized for some of the crazy shit I've said. Anyways, this is one of those dream contacts, so if you don't think that's a valid way of communicating with extraterrestrials, you can butt out. I was on here reading about Pleiadian contact one night, and when I was laying in bed, about to fall asleep, I sent out a mental ping requesting contact. When I was asleep, I had the most vivid dream of my life, but there are still some parts I can't remember 100% because it was so long ago. I tried to get everything down on paper as soon as I woke up because I knew what had just happened was real. I even made a quick sketch of the craft. The dream was me just kind of standing in a field, and then this huge ship, I would say a little smaller than a football field, descends in front of me. It's a brilliant, glowing purple. It's kind of disc-shaped, but not exactly. It's more like it's made up of a lot of boxes with the openings facing out, and they have lights inside. I can't describe the looks that well, and every time I try and draw it, I can't make it look anything like what I saw. Next thing I know, I'm on the ship and being guided down a long corridor. The insides of the ship are pretty much all white with lots of light and gold accents on stuff. The wall on the left was white and seemed to be giving off light. There were doors along the wall to my right. The being that guided me was probably a Pleiadian, as he fit the description. He seemed like an older one of them. He was tall, like 6'5", I think. Pale skin, longish gray hair. He told me his name. I know it started with the letter L, but I don't remember. I've always been bad at remembering names. I don't remember what we talked about. I don't remember anything else, really.
I saw something over the course of a week. It was at the northwestern tip of Michigan's Lower Peninsula, back around 2006. I'm a city guy. I've lived in heavily populated urban areas all my life. Even though this was a tourist hotspot, if you head 30 miles south, it was still secluded where we were camping. This was the first time in my life I saw a completely open sky, not obstructed by lights or smog. This was also the first time I saw shooting stars, and I saw many more than I could even count. Then I saw one that stuck out. I was watching a particularly bright star and wondering if it could be a planet or satellite or something. The star was stationary for a good 3 minutes. Then it dropped in an arch, like a perfect quarter circle, and stopped again. After about 30 seconds, it zipped off in a completely different direction out of sight. I was watching it with another guy, and we both just looked at each other. He came to this spot all the time and said he never saw anything like that before. A couple nights later, I was out on the water with 2 other people, and we watched for an hour as 2 similar things were up in the sky. They would be stationary with some distance between them and would shoot off in the same direction and fly in an S pattern where their courses would intersect over and over. After they stopped at the other end of the sky, they would pause for a little bit, and then they'd head back to their original position, making the same pattern. This continued for a while. Eventually, on one pass, they disappeared out of sight for 10 minutes, but eventually came back to the same original position, doing the same pattern. Eventually, they were stationary for about 5 minutes. Then they were just gone. In the blink of an eye, gone. I never saw anything like it since.
Multiple times, hence why I'm generally reluctant to look at the sky, even in daytime. As a kid, we went a lot of places in the car, and I, being an only child, stared out the windows most of the trip. Funnily enough, I've never seen the triangle-shaped ones or anything. They're always spherical and silver metallic. At least 3 times I can vividly remember seeing craft like this. Twice during the day, once at night. The most recent was last year when I was finishing up my BA at uni. It was summer, and we had this really terrible, enormous thunderstorm. My roommate and I were home alone, so we decided to sit by the window and enjoy the storm. We had the window open and were marveling at the trees bending, the parking lot flooding, etc. Lightning was lighting up the sky for a couple seconds every time it struck, and I was staring past the next building during one instance of lightning, and I saw the metallic sphere just hovering. My jaw dropped, but my roommate was rambling, and by the time I realized what I was looking at to get her attention, it was gone, zoomed off horizontally. She didn't believe me when I told her.
I've got 5 or 6 I can post, but I will only post the first, and I'll continue to write them, then post if anyone wants the rest. All of these stories are very vivid memories that I have always been able to recall. Early childhood. I'm at least 4, because my little brother was an infant at the time. My family lived on a farm in the middle of nowhere, South Georgia. We have a typical farmhouse where I share a room with my older brother. The room consists of 2 twin beds with brown trunks at the end next to the bed frame. I remember my mom asking me to give my little brother his bottle. No problem, bro. I'm a big boy. I continue out of my little brother's room into mine. My big brother is at school or something, so it's quiet. I climb on the bed and instantly fall asleep. I was born sleeping, so this is normal even to this day. I wake up under the bed on my back. I'm not immediately filled with dread or anything. I think to myself, I need to get out from under here. I roll over and turn around to face the foot of the bed. This is where I start freaking out. The brown trunk that is normally there is gone. In its place is a pile of white fur that is shaped much like a dog. We don't have a dog. Our collie ran away when I was younger, according to my parents. At this point, I am frozen in fear. The left end of the fur starts to move out and rotate. Its head turns in the manner of an owl. But when it reaches 180 degrees to face me, it is shaped almost like a dog. The snout is longer than a dog's snout, and the eyes are much larger and pitch black. I enter severe panic mode and start flailing, trying to escape what now seems to be an endless length of bed frame and mattress. When I get out from under the bed, I stand up facing the window. The white fur dog owl thing is in the road, looking dead at me. It turns its head away, and I wake up on the floor beside the bed. Once I was awake, I can only recall leaving my room and going out the back door from the kitchen. The next couple of stories take place when I was a teenager. Be me, 13 or 14. I play trumpet, guitar, and bass. I read from sheet music, play in band. Shit is cool. I have a pretty big group of friends for a small country town. My drummer friend has a birthday party at his house. 6 people stay the night. Drum bro, his older brother, guitar bro 1, guitar bro 2, bass bro, and me. We are all outside playing basketball on a cement pad for his parents' cars. Once we stop, older bro suggests we walk down the street to an abandoned house. He is really talking it up, trying to freak us out. We aren't buying it, but decide to go for shits and giggles. We check the time we leave the house because his parents are home, and we don't want them waking up while we are gone. We agree to make this a short trip because it's 11:30-ish. We turn left out of the driveway onto a gravel country road and embark on our spooky doot march. We reach a 4-way stop, and everyone now is starting to talk each other out of it, even older bro. Looking back, we must have sounded like ginormous cowards. After a short discussion, we decided to head back because parents might get upset. I'd say we were about halfway back when we start hearing a low-pitched noise ahead of us. Everyone hears it, and we are all confused. We slow our pace but continue towards Drum Bro's house. Bass Bro, Guitar Bro 2, and me are at the front of the pack. That's when we see them. Just above the tree line to our left are 3 huge red lights. I'm not talking about the red lights you see on a plane at night. I mean fucking huge. For reference, they were probably as big as a 2-door garage is wide. There was no wind coming from them, no engine noise, just this low thump noise, almost like a helicopter if it were slowed way down. Whum, whum, whum is the best way I can describe it. And for some reason, the 3 of us begin sprinting right for these things. Maybe for a better look. I don't really know. What I do know is that once all 3 lights were over the top of the road, I remember tripping. The next thing I remember was like sort of waking up. But instead of waking up from being on my back like I was asleep, it was like I woke up catching myself falling. No one was in front of me or behind me. Everyone was back at the carport telling me to hurry up and get back to the house. When I got there, they asked me what took so long. I told them I didn't know. They were right in front of me. What the fuck happened to them? We argued back and forth for a while about how they all went back to the carport, but I just kept going down the road. When I didn't turn around right away, they gave me a minute, then started yelling from the carport. Things proceeded as a normal teenage birthday would, and we never talked about it again. The next incident was told to me by my little brother the day after it happened. Be me. Be 15 or 16. I go to bed like normal. I wake up the next morning to a freaked out little brother. He says he woke up in the middle of the night and heard my music stand fall over. Being the nosy twat he was, he wanted to see if I was sneaking out. He opened my door, and the window was up, but nothing was knocked over. He dismissed it as me going out to smoke a cig and headed back to bed. A couple hours later, he hears the music stands falling over again. He opens my door to see me in my underwear, staring at the ceiling fan. The window was still wide open. The music stands were undisturbed. He says he asks me where I went. No response. He asks me again, and I look down at the floor. He asks me again, and I look at him. After a short moment, I told him nothing happened. Go back to bed. I turn around, get in my bed, get under the covers, and immediately fall asleep. He says he was so freaked out, he went straight to bed like I said, and didn't come out until he heard my parents get up. These seem really long-winded, but if anyone has questions, I'll answer as best I can. The last good story happened when I was 26 or 27. After this incident, It's just me being woken up to the dog barking at my bedroom door or the corner of my ceiling in the middle of the night. Be me. Things are going well. I got a new house. I'm renting out my townhome. I'm engaged to a bright young lady. I have custody of my daughter from a previous marriage. I have a son with my fiancée. We have a 2-story with an unfinished basement. Our room is on the middle floor behind the garage. There's a huge window looking out into our backyard and the woods beyond that. We haven't been moved in very long. I go to bed one night after some TV. Nothing unusual. I have a very vivid dream about being woken up by a bright-ass white light coming through our giant windows. The light never stops, so I just sit in bed and stare at it. The dream ends with me waking up in the morning with pain in my left thigh. I look at my leg and see 3 equal-sized scoops missing from my leg. They are the size of large BBs and sunken about a 1/4 inch deep into my skin. Perfect little circles, like someone took a miniature ice cream scooper and removed my skin. I tell my girl about the weird dream and the sores. She says she woke up to me sitting straight up in bed and asked me what I was doing. I didn't respond, and she was tired and just went back to bed. I'm now 34 and still have a scar from it. That's the last major event. Everything after that is my dog barking in the middle of the night at my door or a corner of my room where nothing is. As despite my protests, he just won't shut up until I get up and physically touch and pet him to calm him down. Nothing spectacular, but these things definitely happened to me, and I can't explain them. If you don't believe them, I hope it was at least a good read.
About a month ago, I was getting a ride to work from my brother. We were on the freeway, and there's this hill on the left side of us. I'm sitting in the front passenger seat, looking up at the sky from the front window, when I see some shiny-looking object on the left of me. Mind you, it was around 4 p.m. and there was full daylight. It's this round object just shining brightly, like it's reflecting the light from the sun. At first I thought it was some balloon, but the thing was just hovering there pretty high and not ascending like helium balloons. As we're driving, I'm just staring at it for a few minutes without it moving. So there's a hill on the left, and it gets taller, and then I can't see the object because the hill is blocking my sight. It blocked my sight for not even 2 seconds, and when we get past that part, the object is gone. I don't know what it was, but it just suddenly disappeared. I never told my brother because I didn't think it was worth mentioning, plus I doubt he would believe me if I told him I saw a UFO.
I am normally not on 4chan as I am in my 40s, but I found this page in a Google search, so here goes. The following is true. If you do not believe me, I do not care either way. This happened. That is all there is to it. In the early 1980s, my family was piss poor. We lived in a shitty house on an estate in a rough town in northern England. My dad's brother had been successful in the construction industry and was quite wealthy. We maybe only saw him a few times every year, but he was a great guy, very funny and quite generous. One summer, 1982, if I remember right, he invited us, my mum, dad, brother, and me, to accompany him on his boat from the UK to Portugal. We jumped at the opportunity, and that summer we ended up joining him on his old, but to us, great boat. Looking back, it was a bit of a heap of shit, to be honest. About 2 days into the trip, we were in the middle of the sea. It was a dark night with just starlight. We were all on the little deck at the back of the boat having a meal when Uncle F looked over his shoulder, then shot down like a maniac into the steering room. He was babbling like mad on the radio and swearing, and he shouted up for my dad to see if he could come and try to get the radios working. After about half a minute, the whole lighting, tape deck, radio, everything on the boat just cut out dead. It was as if a switch had been thrown on everything. The lights, little shitty battery fans, everything just went out. My dad and Uncle F came back up to us, and Uncle F pointed to the sea behind us. About 30 meters away, there was this pinkish light below the sea, about as strong as a house floodlight. It gradually got brighter until this light broke above the sea with zero noise. It hovered there for about a few seconds, then, whoom, straight up. As soon as it left, all power came back on. To this day, none of us can understand what happened. None of us has been back on a boat either.
When I was in Turkey a few years back, I was lying out on the porch trying to get to sleep because it was too warm inside. Since I couldn't get to sleep because the towels I was lying on and using as a cover were damp from being out all night, and I was scared of spooky jumping spiders coming near me, I started to watch the sky. It was totally clear, so I didn't have any trouble seeing pretty much everything up there. One star caught my eye because it was moving pretty slowly and looked like it was jittering from left to right real quickly and sort of changing direction in the sky. At first I thought my eyes were just playing tricks on me, but I watched it for a while longer and it was definitely moving. My first thought was that it was a jet or some sort of plane, because it wouldn't be the first time the military had flown over our house. But jets are loud as shit, and it wouldn't have been jittering around like it was. I just watched it slowly move across the sky until I had to go back inside before the humid Turkish air, nature, or a drone killed me.
I think I've seen one before, but I wrote it off as a jet or satellite. I did have a dream that I was abducted, though. A very vivid dream. I know it was a dream because there was other weird shit going on, like my dog could fucking speak English. I can tell you the dream, seeing as how it's the closest I've gotten. Lel. Be me. Be about 15. Feeling uneasy one night after watching a spooky movie, the original The Exorcist, by myself late. Head to bed and turn on my radio to try and chill out and fall asleep. I sleep. Suddenly, loud, and when I say loud, I don't mean, I can hear it in my dreams, turn it off. I'm talking, turn this up to 11, burst your eardrums. Loud. White noise erupts from my radio. I awaken, feeling absolutely frightened and cold. It was winter. I feel as though I have actually woken up. I hear someone talking to themselves downstairs. What is Mum doing up? .gif. I investigate further and stupidly call out, "Hello? Hey Anon, I'm in the lounge room." I walk to the lounge room. "Mum, what are you doing talking to yourself?" It's not Mum, it's my dog. "Hey Anon, I heard a spooky noise, so I stayed up to guard everyone." Suddenly something lights up the entire lounge room through the window, and my dog goes absolutely skits. The wall somehow turns transparent, starting from the window, and there's a small aircraft hovering outside the lounge room. I can feel the wind coming off of the aircraft. Suddenly, a very calming voice comes out of nowhere. "Don't worry, Anon. We don't want to hurt you. We just want to talk to you." I'm so soothed that I let down my guard almost instantly and drift off into this white light. Door closes. Fade to black. I woke up for real this time. I'm fucking terrified. I can't sleep properly for about a week. I calmed down eventually, remembering all the weird shit that was happening. Heaps of other weird shit was happening. Not just the talking dog. In before real abduction.
Be me. Be a 19-year-old volunteer firefighter. I just finished my ECA course, Emergency Care Assistant. Essentially, I am a glorified first aid provider and handholder to tell you you're not gonna die when your dumbass stuck your arm in a wood chipper until the paramedics get there. I receive a call for diabetic shock around 2:45 a.m. Lots of old people around here, happens pretty fucking often. The residence is way out in the country. It takes roughly 10 minutes to drive there. I arrive at the station at 2:53 a.m. and take the command vehicle. We didn't have an ambulance. We're a volunteer department. I'm hauling ass down this old country road, doing about 65. I see a deer cross the road in front of me and slam on the brakes. Just before I stop, I hear the paramedics from the city say they're en route. Dispatch acknowledges and states the time is 2:57 a.m. I come to a complete stop. The deer stares at me. I see a bright flash of light to my left and look. The flash fades, and I look back at the road. The deer is gone. Dispatch is panicking, calling my call sign, asking me to acknowledge. I reply and inform them I'm still en route. They told me the call was handled 45 minutes ago. I checked the time. It's 3:32 a.m. The vehicle is still running, but my watch has stopped. It still shows 2:44 a.m. I return to the station, thoroughly spooked. I don't sleep for the next 3 nights. To this day, I still don't know what happened. I'm not saying I was abducted or anything. All I do know is my watch, for some reason, stopped where every other clock kept going.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel, as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.